Hi everybody, I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Doris Forster and I have been doing a series of discussions or talks connecting global population characteristics to gender equality. And for the last few weeks I have focused on fertility rates and looking at why certain countries have high fertility versus why certain countries have lower fertility and how that relates to gender equality. And what you tend to find is countries with high fertility rates have higher rates of inequality between males and females. And over the last few weeks, I was looking at different indicators that are responsible for fertilities to make some connections between gender equality and fertility. Today, I'm going to do another one. I have one more after this one to do, and then I will have covered the major components of fertility. This one is education. Now, education, in my view, is the most important for both males and females for raising people out, lifting people out of poverty, empowering people. Education will give you the skills you require, help you be gainfully employed, increase your socioeconomic status, and allow you to use that money that you have to help your children attain education and to empower them and to break that cycle of poverty that we see all over the world. When you look at females, it does all of those things, but it also empowers women because when they're in school, they're not getting married young, and that'll be my last talk, so I'm not going to elaborate on that. So you prolong when they're getting married or you prolong when they're having children, the fertility rates will come down. That's number one, but more importantly, it empowers women to taking control a little bit of themselves, their bodies, and knowing what choices that they have, and I think that's key. So when I first started these talks, I looked at gender equality from the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, and I focused on those. I'm going to look at another one really quickly, and that is goal number 4, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality, and that's where the male and female parts come in, where a lot of the goals are around giving both males and females access to quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So if you look at the overview, they're saying that COVID, the 2 years, has had a huge impact on a lot of countries, and the gains that have been made over the last 20 years have actually either been wiped out or have actually declined. So I don't know how accurate sorry, that was a student going by. I don't know how accurate the new data will be because you have to factor that in, and will countries be able to bounce back, or that's going to put them behind? I am going to do another talk on COVID and women and how it's affected women a little bit later on in my series. But I wanted to just look quickly at the targets, and you'll see there's 7 targets, and whenever you have a goal with this many targets, countries will choose which ones they're going to focus on. They have that right because it's driven not by goals by the United Nations, but the United Nations is saying these are our targets, and countries are saying, okay, I can do that one, and I'm going to focus on that one, but I can't do them all, and they have that right to do that. So you can see that a lot of these goals revolve around providing opportunities for boys and girls to complete primary school, secondary school, post-secondary school, making sure that they have the skills entering primary school and being able to attain technical skills and vocational skills. Okay, so I'm just going to let you look at those yourself. Okay, and a lot of them, I think there's like goal 1, 2, 3 deal specifically with giving access to both men and women. Goal 5 deals with the gender equality. Literacy rates, numeracy rates. There's one goal on sustainability, which I think is the science part of it, and then there's 3 specific goals, A, B, and C, 4A, 4B, 4C, that deal with having qualified teachers, providing scholarships for people, and that they're in a safe building to learn. And then I just wanted to quickly go to the map, and when you look at it, you'd hope to see a sea of green, but we're not seeing the sea of green. And the countries that have, and remember, I'm just going to close that. If it's green, it's that the goals, the Sustainable Development Goal has been achieved, and if it's red, that there's major challenges that are remaining. So looking at this, there should be no surprise because we've been talking a lot about what's going on in Africa, and they do have higher fertility rates, they do have higher gender inequality. This part of the world also, and we can see that there are some challenges that still remain between equitable education. Now I'm just going to click on a few countries and show you. Now Canada has reported on all of the targets, and we can see that we've achieved the Sustainability Development Goal in its entirety. If you look at the United States, they do have some challenges, and you can see where they've experienced decreases versus increases and things that have stayed the same. Italy surprised me because I was surprised to see net primary enrollment rate decreased. I was very surprised. And the PISA score, I think that's the literacy and numeracy scores, and underachievers in science, I was very, very surprised. And then I wanted to point out Chad. Only 3 targets, and they're major challenges. They have major challenges in educating males and females, but females have less education attainment. They also have lower literacy rates than males, and they also are a country that has very high fertility and higher gender inequality. So that's one of them. There's the Congo, you can see. And then I wanted to find Rwanda, but it's so small. I don't want to take up time, but it's right here, and it's so tiny, tiny, tiny. There we go. Okay, and it's disappointing here. They've done such a great job in investing in other areas of their country, and maybe education's coming now, but they have challenges remaining. They haven't addressed all 7. Their literacy rates, significant challenges remain. Their primary enrollment rate and lower secondary completion rate. So that's one, and then I'll just focus. You can see China's, and I'll do one more. Cambodia, just to look at. Okay, so you can see that there's a lot still to do to achieve for many, many countries because there's the 7 targets, and the idea is if the 7 targets are reached, then there's equitable education for both males and females. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly look at the literacy rate. This is for 2019, which is encouraging because it is the most recent data, and some of the data is so old. So I'm just going to play this quickly so that you can see that there has been improvements. And it's not always doom and gloom, but there's way more that needs to happen. So the countries that are in gray have no data. I'm assuming it's like almost 100% literate. And then we have this part of the world that the literacy rates aren't as high. What I find encouraging is that no country's at 0 to 10% of female literacy, which is very encouraging. We do have that one country there, which is Chad, and 14% of the female population is literate over the age of 15, 20 to 40%. So that to me is still low. We should be like at the 100 point, I think, to be successful. But and then we have our 40 to 60% countries, and our 60 to 80, and again you can see Africa's highlighted and parts of Asia as well, and then the 80 to 100 is the most countries in the world are at 80 to 100, which is great, and it has improved over time. We still have a ways to go. So I'm going to just click on Chad again for you. Now the data, I'm going to look at Chad a couple of times. So remember, it's 14% in 2019. This map is not even like, it's 2011, and it's for both males and females, for the whole population. And you can see Africa and this part of Asia has the lower fertility rates. And when you look at Chad, the whole population, only 34% of the population are literate that can read and write. But it's old, so the female population is probably lower than the 14%, number one. And number two, you're going to see a big difference between males and females. But I just wanted, that's the most recent part of the data. This visual I like because it shows, no, that's not the one, sorry. This is the one, sorry. What it shows is youth literacy rate, 15 to 24 male versus the female, and you can start to see the outliers. So I'm just going to click on so you can see. Yeah, it's kind of hard, but anyway, I'll look at this one. So along the side you can see, I just want to show you here, along the side it'll pop up the male versus the female. The x-axis is the female. So if you look at Chad, we have like almost half. So 40%, almost 41% of the male population over the age of 15 in Chad is literate. And when you compare it to the females, it's 22%. So Chad has increased since 2019, but it's not equal. So you see that there's not equality between males and females. Another country, Guinea, you can see 56% to 37%. It won't reset for me, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. And then you can see Burkina Faso, the gap is closing, but there's still a gap there. If we look here, look at the difference between male and female, 71% for males and almost 50% for females. And then the countries that are all here, it's almost equality. So we're looking at these countries that are not close to the line. Togo, 90% of the males and 80% of the females, but there's still a 10% difference, and it shouldn't occur there. And here, very outdated data, 2014, but what we see here is the average years of schooling for women. And if we compare it to males, which I didn't want to spend time doing that, I just wanted you to look at the countries where women are attaining low levels. Now it's 2014, so we might see some countries disappearing from this low end and some moving along the spectrum, but there's 1 to 2 years. So that's not finished primary school. We have 2 to 3 years finishing school, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. So that's not even entering high school, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, average years of schooling, 9 to 10, 11 to 12, and then 11 or above, and that's where most of the higher income countries are for women. Where we have to work is here. In Chad, there's no data. So it's either the country's not collecting it or they don't want to release it. So we don't really know what's happening there. So that's a problem, is keeping women in school. And here we have net enrollment between male and female. So this is actually them being enrolled. And we can see in Africa, I'm just going to click on Africa, South Sudan, you can see the difference, almost a 10% difference in enrollment. Etra, Afghanistan. So things are better, but there's still a ways to go. And what I would like to see is all the countries along that line giving equal opportunity, and that's the goal that we need to achieve. The one part or one piece of the data that I'm looking for and I can't find is attendance. Because it's one thing to enroll your child into school, it's another one, are they attending? Are they attending once a week, once a month? Are they completing a year of schooling but they've only attended a third of the classes? That makes a big difference. So it's not just in what they've attained, it's the actual knowledge that they've received when they've been able to attend school. And so this is probably the indicator that's the most successful, but there's still a long way to go. Education is power, and power gives women control. So next time I'm going to look at marriage, when women are getting married, what the laws are in some countries, and how getting married later in life will bring down your fertility rates and empower you and help achieve gender equality. That's it for me today. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. So many things are happening in the world. I think kindness is something that is free and will make the world a better place. So I'm going to say bye for now.